Okay, Dale, this next question for you. What are your past experiences in dealing with cases involving civil, criminal, and family law cases?
I have considerable experience in criminal law primarily, which reflects the caseload in our county. Most of the cases that are litigated in our courts are criminal cases, and that's where my percentage of experience lies. However, I do have considerable experience in civil law as well. I've handled personal injury prosecution cases. I've handled quite a bit of family law cases, divorce, child custody, separation, those types of claims. And most of it has been in criminal law. And again, I've tried several cases to juries as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney. That's where most of my experience lies. But I've found that having a well-rounded experience makes you better at any one particular job, because I found in my role as a criminal attorney, the experience that I've gained in other avenues of the law is beneficial and helpful.
Bob, same question?
Thank you. I'll start with criminal law. I'm a career prosecutor, 20 years experience. Started out as a deputy DA, was promoted to supervising deputy DA in charge of narcotic task force. I did that for 5 years in Butte County. Was promoted to assistant DA, South Lake Tahoe office. It's a branch office of El Dorado County. I did that for 8 years. Became the district attorney of Delaware County. 20 years experience, 14 of that has been in the management arena. I also did criminal defense work in private practice and also a contract public defender in the county. And in criminal law, I've handled numerous cases, many jury trials, some of them very high profile, including the I-5 strangler, serial killer Roger Kidder. Numerous jury trials. In the civil law arena, 5 years doing business law, personal injury, and administrative law. Also family law when I was in private practice, handling divorces, child custody matters, conservatorships, and also probate cases. I am a well-rounded attorney, but I consider myself a career prosecutor. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, this would be from you, Dale. I want me to switch them around. I mean, there's only two of you. As DA, with a limited budget, what will your focus be, and how will you manage your office to ensure that the community, that those who deserve punishment will receive it?
The reality is that we have budgetary constraints that we have to work on. And we can't take every single case to trial. We can't fight every single case with the same vigor, unfortunately. That's just the reality of it. So I think it comes down to priorities. Who are the people that we really need to get? Who are the people that we really want to get? And I think the nature of the offense is the very first thing that should be considered. Again, as I said before, serious and violent felonies should be the focus, because they're the ones that are posing the greatest danger to our community. And you also need to look at the record of the offender. If this is someone that's been in the system before, we need to discontinue the practice of constantly striking enhancements, because the law provides for enhancements based on your past record. If you've been to prison, for example, that adds a year to your sentence. If you have certain prior drug offenses, that adds 3 years to your sentence. Too often, those enhancements are being tossed to the wayside. People that have been in the system before and have committed crimes and not changed their behavior need to be dealt with more harshly. And I think that it comes down to who we want to focus on. And in addition to that, as I stated before, the domestic violence, I also represent juveniles, and I see that the juveniles that I represent, I can tell that the apple hasn't fallen very far from the tree. I see the homes that they've grown up in. So I think domestic violence is something that permeates itself throughout the rest of the criminal justice system. So I think focusing on those two areas is critical.
Thank you. Bob, same question?
Thank you. Well, I have considerable experience in that arena. 12 years doing budgets, personnel matters, and grants. And I have a good track record in that arena. And I'll continue to do what I did in the past. And that's basically all the plates in the air. Not only the street crimes, but the straight crimes, and also juvenile matters. I have history that shows I was successful and will continue to do that again. I will focus on many things. One is, I'm a working DA. I roll up my sleeves and get the job done. This county is too small to just have a talking head. I do trials, calendars, motions, and if the deputy DA gets jammed, I get in there and help him out. History shows I'm good at grants. When I was DA, I was successful in getting grants. For example, the TRACK grant, and that's still going on today. That's a child health and treatment grant. We immediately got $238,000 in revenue to do that program. And that TRACK grant is still going on today. Training is very important. And the more efficient we can become, the better we can do our job, and that will save the taxpayers some money. More bang for your buck. Push comes to shove. For example, if we lose a number of deputy DAs, then obviously it's a matter of prioritizing. And I think that you do the career criminals, the serious and violent offenders. We're going to protect the children and seniors, and obviously take care of those problems that cause safety to our community. For example, driving under the influence. As far as punishment goes, very big on punishment, victims' rights, seeking justice for victims. Obviously, the punishment has to fit the crime. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Dale, this one's for you. The DA determines what cases are to be prosecuted. What will you do to ensure all offenders are treated fairly and receive appropriate justice?
Again, every case has to be resolved on its own merits. You can't have a cookie-cutter policy. Each case needs to be evaluated when it comes into the office for who the offender is, the nature of the crime. Does this offender have a past? Do they have a history? What about the victims? How are the victims impacted by this? All of these decisions need to be made in every single case that comes in on a case-by-case basis and dealt with appropriately. And it's very important to work with law enforcement as cases are being investigated, because sometimes additional work needs to be done. Victims sometimes have a pattern of leaving the area or changing their story, so you have to be quick. You have to get your case organized at very early stages and push through. Too often when files languish, they get lost, and the priority of it gets lost. So I think that they need to be handled quickly and efficiently to make sure that justice is dispensed fairly. The other thing is, one of the benefits of being new to the community is I don't have any axe to grind with anybody. I'm going to make decisions based on the case file, and that's it, period. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob?
Thank you. The starting point for me is that there will be no politics and no favoritism in the DA's office. Filing the case to begin with is extremely important. New prosecutors generally have a problem in this arena. The starting point has to be this: is there legally sufficient and admissible evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt? That prosecutor's got to look at that file the same as he would facing a jury. Is there an abiding conviction to the truth of the charges? And to do that, you got to take a look at all of the evidence. That is direct evidence, circumstantial evidence, and physical evidence. The DA's office does have a sword, ladies and gentlemen. It's a sword of justice, and that sword has two edges, and they're both very sharp. One side is to pursue those cases in which there's sufficient evidence, and the other side is to protect the innocent when there's not sufficient evidence. And that's the sword I'm going to use, and that's my philosophy. To seek justice, again, that's part of my mission statement, seek justice for victims. They're going to be a part of that process. I want to know what their thoughts are on sentencing. They're going to know the court dates. They're going to be a part of the process. Prosecutors have to know the parameters of the laws. This is a case that you're only going to be able to get 90 days, or is it 3 years, or can it be life sentence? Very important. Obviously, the circumstances of the case is going to depend upon the sentence you can get. As I said before, the punishment has to equal the crime. More serious the crime, gonna go after the greatest